Hey, this is Alex with thatindiedude.com, and we're here at the back of the Pentamere Winery booth here, and I'm here with Dan, who is the winemaker at Pentamere Winery, and this is one of the coolest wineries around. It's just an awesome, what do you call it, an urban winery?
Urban winery.
Okay,
Because we're right
which,
downtown.
great, yeah, downtown Tecumseh, right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about the winery before we get into your wine?
Well, we went with the urban design. We saw it done in Canada.
Oh,
They
wow.
have several around the Toronto area,
Okay.
and they have vineyards way off on the peninsula. So we're thinking, well, why can't we do that? We couldn't get into our own vineyard right now, so let's start an urban winery, contract the grapes, and get things rolling, and eventually we can get around to putting in a vineyard.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. And all of your grapes come from the Five Lakes region, right?
We're a Great Lakes winery.
Okay.
Every business has to have a shtick. We're Great Lakes guys. We love the water. We love the lakes. About half to 60% of our grapes come from Michigan.
Okay.
And the rest of them are brought in from Pennsylvania, Ohio, Ontario, Niagara, and the Lake region. You bring them in, mush them up, and make them wine.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, so I just tried one of your wines here. It's your new release of the cherry wine, the Michigan
Okay.
cherry wine, which was wonderful. I absolutely loved it. Cherry wines are hard to get right. A lot of times they're just too tart, and they just don't taste quite right. Too tart, too sweet, got all that stuff going on, but I loved it. I really liked your cherry wine. So
I like it.
you being the winemaker, tell me, you know my site is a little bit about design. What is the design? What's the art that goes into the winemaking aspect
The
of things?
winemaking or the cherry?
Um, Anything at all, yeah.
First, when you're looking at wine, from my perspective, it's really about balance. Like so many of things in life, food, if you're going to put it in your mouth, it has to be balanced. You have to have the right amount of acid, but not too much acid.
Okay.
Too little acid and it's flabby and there's no character to it. Too much acid and it rips your face off. If you're going to have any sweetness to the wine, it still has to be balanced with the amount of acid in it and the amount of character within the wine. If you're going to do a dry wine, still, the acid has to blend against the fruit, the fruitiness of the grapes and so forth. So it's a constant battle in looking to make sure that these things balance in the final product.
Okay.
When we look for grapes, in the United States is focused on probably 8 to 10 grapes. You go to your supermarket and you see Merlot and Cab Sauv, you see Chardonnay, you see Pinot Gris. Wonderful grapes, you got nothing against them. But in the wide world, there are 8,000 wine grapes used commercially to a greater or lesser extent. And America's caught up on 8 or 10 of them. I mean, this is silly.
Yeah. I know I tried a really original one the other day at your place, the Chambourcin, which I absolutely loved. That was wonderful.
Chambourcin is a French hybrid grape.
Okay.
That was developed some years ago to function within the cooler climates outside of the designated growing regions within France, because every good Frenchman wants to have his wine. And it can make, again, if you can get it to fully ripen, you handle it properly, you get it balanced, you can get a very nice medium-bodied tannic red out of it. It can be, we've used it to make blush, not blush, but rosé wine.
Oh, wow, okay.
So good, brisk, bright, enamel cracking, dry red or rosé wine. So it's a good versatile grape too. But we don't want to do all those same, grapes. If you can go down to the Kroger's and get 80 different kinds of Chardonnay. Why in the world would I want to make yet another Chardonnay?
Sure,
So
absolutely.
we don't really do Chardonnay anymore. We try to track down some of the lesser known varietals that are being introduced into the Great Lakes.
Okay.
From regions of the globe that have cooler climates. Eastern Europe, higher elevations in France, in Austria and Switzerland, Germany, so the grapes are out there. It's just finding people who are growing them and getting them in here and utilizing them. Bianco we used for the first time last year. It's a new hybrid, very cold
I've
tolerant.
heard of it.
Makes wonderful, bright, light white wine. I'm looking forward to making a lot more of it in the future. We have it in our white blend right now, our Wings of the Wind, and it gives it just a very bright, brisk taste. And for a day like today, where it's sunny and warm, it's just the ticket.
Huh. Sounds good.
Let's see. You wanted one other thing here. Talked about the grapes. Oh, blending is another thing that is a very curious subject in the United States.
Sure.
In Europe, for 3,000 years, 4,000 years, they've been making wine.
Mm-hmm.
And when they make wine, they blend together the elements that they want to make a superior end product.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, when they started growing in California, one of the greatest growing regions in the
Sure.
world, they got into this idea that they can grow a single varietal,
Mm-hmm.
single vintage wine. And they could, and it's quite good. But the fact that, and everybody started believing, well, that's how quality wine is made. It's like, no, not necessarily. That's how California wine is made.
Yeah.
In Europe and in France, you can't find a single varietal,
Sure.
single vintage wine, because for most of us, you can make better wine by blending the different elements in several different wines to get a superior final product.
Cool.
So we have our Walk in the Water,
Mm-hmm.
which is a blend of 5 reds, and it's much better as a blend than any one of those wines as a standalone. So the blending comes back again to balancing the flavors, balancing acid against the fruit, against the tannin. We have in tank right now, we have a Cabernet Franc from 2005, extremely tannic, huge. So I'm going to have to work that into a Cabernet blend, sort of a Bordeaux blend, because it adds great character, but by itself, it's pretty harsh, and so I can't possibly bottle that Cabernet Franc by itself because it's just too mean.
Sure.
So blend, accentuate each property of each grape, and come up with a better final product.
Huh, that's great. That's great. Sounds like great creativity and design that goes into this.
Get down, get your graduated cylinder, and start. A painter, when he comes to his easel, he's got a palette of colors.
Sure.
When we come to put together a wine, we pull together our palette of wine samples, and we start putting it together and find out what's going to work and play nice in the sandbox.
So one last question on this. Everybody, just like everybody has a different eye in painting, some people love the painting, some people hate it. Everybody has a different tongue, and different tastes.
Absolutely.
What is your secret to making sure that people consistently love your wines?
The tasting counter.
Yeah. All right.
Not everybody most people do not love every one of my wines.
Sure.
And that, of course, makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
We have a spectrum of wines. We have bone dry whites, we have some dry reds, big tannic reds, semis, we have very sweet wine. Most people do not drink that entire spectrum of wine. Tasting counter allows folks to come out, try some samples, find out what they like, try before they buy, and avoid that frustration of going to the supermarket and getting home with something that you just don't like. And it helps make it successful.
Cool, great. Well, thank you, Dan, very much. You've been a wonderful help. I look forward to seeing some more great wines from you.
Cool.
All right, have a great day.